and just share a few thoughts. I think this is my second live conversation I'm having in this year 2026. The music is by Bob Fitz, a wonderful, wonderful worship leader. And I just want to welcome each one of you today as we share together. And we just want to welcome you all and just say thank you for joining in today. It's always great and it's always good to come live, and I don't take it lightly, and we just want to appreciate you coming through and also taking your time to listen. One of the things that I've realized is that in life there are certain things that we need to do in order to achieve great things, and 2026 is one of the best years that we can ever be alive, and I'm sure that you've got great plans this year and great things that you want to achieve in 2026. But having said that, there is something that we all need to check, and that's the mentality. How do we handle 2026? And if we look at what is happening around the world, there are a number of things that we are bombarded with. There are a number of challenges that we might be facing. There are a number of things that we are faced with as individuals, as family, as communities, and the world at large. The wars going around the world, calamities happening, floods, the snow, and all that. We just had a bit of snow beginning of this year. Yeah, so there are a lot of challenges, but how do we face 2026? That's my focus today. And I just want to share with you a few thoughts and things that I think they're very, very important that we can look at this year, 2026, and say, you know what, I can make it. I am going to make it. And one of the things that I've come across and been sharing at our local congregation is to look at this lovely bird called the eagle. And I thought I would combine all these things together, and we'll be concluding the series this coming Sunday. But today, I just thought I would come and share with you how that we can face 2026 and have a mindset, a mentality that is of an eagle, the bird that has got lots of traits that we can learn from as human beings. And if anything, as we learn of these traits, one thing I realize, all the things that we can see in an eagle, it's already in us. All we need is to tap into our potential and get to do the things that the ego does, and some of the things that the ego has. So as we look at an ego, I want you to realize to say there are traits that the ego has that every human being, if we are to learn and grasp how that this lovely bird does and have, we are going to make an impact in our generation and also in our lives. What are some of the things that we can learn from an ego, or what is an ego? There are over 70 species of types of eagles around the world, and the eagle is found almost in all the continents of the world. In America, Canada area, there are loads of them. Africa and Asia and Europe, you can find eagles in all these continents. But there are some unique traits and behaviors and characteristics that I've come to realize about an eagle, and we can all learn from this wonderful bird. It's one of the unique birds, very majestic bird that you'll be surprised. It's the king of the air, the eagle. There is no bird that can equal an eagle. An eagle is a bird that soars high above the skies. That's a trait that when you look at the eagle, is not afraid to have a solitary flight. An eagle, in most cases, you find them by themselves. And it's a trait that as a human being, as a leader, got the potential that not everyone will come along with you. And I like the eagle is not afraid to walk alone. In 2026, there might be people that will not agree to walk with you. It's okay, be an eagle and achieve what God has intended you to achieve. An eagle is a bird that flies to heights that no other birds can fly at. So meaning you and me, we've got the potential that we can be an eagle in this year 2026. You can tap into the resources that God has put in you. You are wired to achieve great things. You are wired to do great things. And I want to encourage you to say this year you can soar higher in the sky and achieve great things. The other characteristic we find about an eagle is one of the strongest birds in the world. In you, there is that resilience that God has wired you to have. You've got the potential and you've got the resilience, and I want to encourage you that don't give up. An eagle is a bird that they don't easily give up. And that's the mentality I want each one of us to possess in 2026, resilience, never to give up. The other characteristic about an eagle is that an eagle is a courageous bird. If you are going to make a difference this year, it is high time that you become courageous. The other trait about an eagle is that it's fearless. An eagle does not fear anything. An eagle can face any challenge as a bird and doesn't give up. And I want to encourage you, that's the mentality that you need to carry this year. Don't give up on anything. You can face any challenge just like an eagle. An eagle flies at a high speed, and the speed of an eagle is not anything that you can imagine that any other bird can achieve. An eagle flies at a very high speed. What am I saying? This year, I want to encourage you to say, you know what, just like an eagle, increase your speed. You know, sometimes we have failed to achieve things in life because we are slow to act. You see an opportunity and you don't want to take a step forward. You don't want to take a risk. I was sharing with the congregation at Kids Green, Warwick, looking at an eagle. An eagle is a fearless bird. And there are times that in life you want to invest, you want to do some business, but in most cases we are so hesitant. There is no speed, there is no courageousness, there is no tenacity. You feel like, oh, what if I make a mistake? What if I lose all my money? It is that hesitation in most cases that we lose out. But I want to encourage you, the ego mentality for 2026 is that increase your speed. If you see an opportunity, you've investigated it, and you've researched about it, go for it. Just a few weeks ago, I'm doing some projects in my great nation, Zambia. I love Zambia, Zambia Kuchalo, the country that I was born in that country. I grew up in Zambia. I've got lots of projects going on in Zambia. We go every year to do charity work. I love Zambia. And there is this project we are doing as we discuss and have this conversation around the ego mentality 2026. We are building some project there, and the people working on this project were telling me to say, oh, we need these materials, we need these materials, we need this. And I was thinking, I'll take my time. Maybe when I get a bit of money, then we'll buy the materials that I needed. Just that hesitation in 2 weeks, whereby I couldn't make up my mind. Guess what? The kwacha strengthened and the pound was losing ground to kwacha and the dollar. If I had acted within that period, if I'd acted quickly, I was going to save a lot of money and buy the materials that were needed. What am I saying? 2026, you need the speed of an eagle. If you want to study and you like the subject, you want to do it, I want to encourage you, do it with high speed. 2026 is not a year to be slow, to say, oh, I'll do it later. And procrastination has hindered a lot of us. We could have achieved a lot if we had to learn from an eagle. The eagle is a bird that moves at a high speed. An eagle does not hesitate. The other mentality we need for 2026 is focus. I've been looking at this bird called an eagle. An eagle has focus. An eagle can focus. An eagle has got sharp vision. And that helps the eagle to achieve more than any other bird in the world. And that's the mentality we need. An eagle can see things maybe 8 to 10 times a human being. A human being, when you are looking, we can't see far away, for example, a few meters, but an eagle can see something about 3 to 5 miles or about 5 kilometers. An eagle is able to see, meaning the vision of an eagle is excellent. How far can you see? Can you see yourself in the next 5, 10 years? Just like an eagle. An eagle, when it plans to say, I want to feed, I want to eat, an eagle will position itself and begin to focus, to see. And the way the eyes of an eagle are is that the eyes of an eagle are very, very amazing. The eyes of an eagle are very amazing. And you notice that when an eagle is looking, the eyes are made in such a way by God the Creator, in such a way that an eagle can see from every angle. The left eye will be looking, the right eye will be looking on the other side, but one vision. Whatever is the eagle is seeing on the left is able to capture it and interpret. Whatever the eagle is seeing with the right eye is able to focus and interpret what is happening. The retina of the eagle's eye has got sensitive light cells that it's able to differentiate colors. The colors that the eagle is able to differentiate from a far distance is more way far beyond what a human being can see and the color vision that a human being is able to see. So in 2026, one of the things that you and me, we need to develop is to have a clear vision. How far can you see? How many miles can you see? How many years can you capture and say, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I want to achieve, and then you focus. So the vision of an eagle is very sharp. An eagle can see 8, 10 times a human being. What is the lesson from there? Is that as a human being, we need to focus. We need to have a clear vision. The Bible tells us to say, where there is no vision, people perish, they lose discipline. People just do anything. But an eagle is a bird that we need to learn from this year and have an eagle mentality because of its vision, and it's able to see 2 to 3 miles or about 5 kilometers. An eagle can see. An ego so high up in the sky, of which you and me, our position is high to live a life which is high above. And then look and see what is it that you can see. We need to have a bigger picture where you begin to see things from a bigger picture. Don't be myopic whereby you are focused. That's why an ego is different from any other bird. An ego does not come on the ground and start scratching on the ground and all that. An ego flies up high in the sky, and the perspective, the perception, the vision, the seeing is so clear that an ego sees things better. What can we learn in this year? What mentality do we need? Have a clear vision. What do you want to achieve in 2026? Focus. Have that clear vision. And when you look at an ego will be very up high in the sky. And because of the retina sensitivity, where it's able to interpret and see clearly, the ego will lock the vision on where the target is. And what the ego does, he focuses on what he wants, what he has seen, and focus the sight straight on the target and locks the vision there. All the obstructions in between doesn't mean anything to an ego. He knows what he wants, he knows the target, and he focuses the vision or the eyes on the target. What are you focusing your eyes on? What do you want to achieve in life? What are you looking at? An ego focuses and locks the vision and looks straight at the prey, at the target, the animal he wants to capture. As a human being and as individuals in 2026, my advice, including to myself, is that stay focused. What do you want to achieve at the end of this year? What do you want to achieve in the next 10, 15 years? Focus. Don't just do anything that everybody's doing. Stay focused like an eagle. So an eagle will be up in the sky and sees, an eagle can see a rat moving on the ground from about 5 kilometers away or at the very high height. An eagle is able to see that small, tiny animal or creature moving and begin to prepare himself or herself. An eagle will say, that is my target, that's where I'm going, and it begins to fly down to catch the prey. An eagle can see a fish underwater. That's how powerful the vision of an eagle is. And he'll fly and then lock the wings and began to go towards the target. The eagle doesn't mind whether there are clouds or anything. It penetrates the vision through the clouds and coming down and swooping down and goes to capture the target. And that's the beauty about an eagle. And in you, there is that ego in you that God has built in you. There is that potential for you to see what God has in store for you. And I want you to know that in you, God has put the potential of an eagle. All you need is to say, I'm going to stay focused. I am going to use my strength and the power of God and the things that God has put in me, and I'm going to focus on my target. Avoid distraction. The other thing that you need to avoid is, you need to champion in this year, is delayed gratification. It's not everything that you see that you need to spend your money on. What is your target? What is your focus? What do you want to achieve? And when you begin to have the ego mentality, you begin to pick up a delayed gratification. You say, you know what? I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this. I've seen lovely, lovely cars around on the market, which I think, wow, if I drive this car, this is a lovely car and nice aircon, lovely speed and all that. I love cars. But you know what? My immediate need is not a car. My immediate need is to invest for the future. So I am championing delayed gratification. I don't need expensive shoes. For what? I can wear anything as long as my feet are in the shoe. I can wear t-shirts and some lovely shades. I don't have to spend much. Why? Because I'm focusing on real estate investments. That's where my salary and I spend about 50% of my salary every month on investments. Then 50%, I take 10%, give it to God as my tithes, give to people. But my focus is to invest in real estate. So every month I have to apportion 50% to go into investments. An ego is a very focused babe. It doesn't just go anywhere because other birds are flying anywhere. An ego focuses. The other thing that we find about an ego is that an ego builds the nest on top of the highest mountain, the highest tree you can think of. An ego builds a nest in those high places. And when the ego builds that nest on the highest point, the ego is a very unique bird. He makes sure that he builds this nest on the highest point. And I want to encourage somebody to say, don't settle for less. Yes, you could have been born in the valley, but you are not destined to live the rest of your life in the valley. Yes, you might have been born in a poor family, but you don't have to live poor. You don't have to stay poor. You don't have to stay in poverty. Be like an ego. Yes, I was born in these conditions, but I am going to build my life on the highest point. I am aiming high. I want to study. I want to achieve great things in life. That's the life of an ego, to live high up in the sky, to build a nest, to build a house up in the thickest, the top point that you can ever imagine. That is the life of an ego. That's where the ego says, you know what, I am going to build my nest in the highest and the crest of the mountains. And the ego does that. And he builds that nest for life. It's the strongest. And I was looking at how the ego builds the nest. And that's the mentality that we need. Build your life, your business, your family, something that can last. An ego thinks in generational thinking. Generational thinking is a mindset where you say, you know what, I'm not just building this for myself. I'm going to build something that can last and outlive me. And that's what we need to do in 2026. How are you building your life? An ego will find a spot on the tallest tree or mountain, in the crests of the mountain, and the Bible describes to say the ego lives in the mountains. And what it does, he finds the spot, he says, yeah, this is a good place for me to invest. He goes down to the ground and grabs sticks and takes them back to the top mountain. Why is the ego doing that? He wants to build a lasting, permanent structure. You come down to the ground, pick some stones, pick some rags, and build this massive nest, if anything, of all the birds in the world. An eagle builds the largest nest, the strongest nest, a permanent structure whereby winds can blow, but it can't blow the nest of an eagle. Other birds, when the wind is strong, their nests are blown apart, but not an eagle. And there's something that we can learn from there. How are you building your life? How are you building your family? How are you building your legacy? Are you building it just for yourself, for now, a temporal thing? No, learn from an eagle. 2026 is the best year to have a mentality of an eagle. Build something that will outlive you. Invest, and those investments, you go and your children enjoy them, your children's children. That's the real investment that we must all be working towards. Something that can outlive you. Don't just build. So the eagle builds this nest with all these materials, but some weird materials that the eagle puts in there. The eagle will come into the forest and find some thorns and cut them, take them into the nest, put the thorns in there, sharp thorns. And I was wondering to myself, and you might be asking a question, why put the thorns in the nest as an eagle? How does it work? But just for a moment, the eagle will take these thorns, go and build this nest, come to the ground, pick some rags, some cotton, some clothes, some cloth, and take them back into the nest and cover the thorns. So the eagle's nest is one of the strongest. The foundation is very important. What type of foundation are you building? What materials are you using? The Bible tells us to say, a wise person built a strong house on a rock. A foolish builder went and built on the sand. An eagle is a very wise bird. It builds on the rocks. That's where the nest, most of the nests of an eagle is built on the rock, strong. And he puts thorns there. He covers them with wool and rags and all that. And when the eaglets are born, they are not pricked with the thorns. They are safe until at a certain stage when the eagle mother says, you know what, my kids now need to leave the nest. I have to kick them out. So he begins to take the materials one by one. He takes the wool out, he takes the rags out, and then he exposes the thorns. And the eaglets, now the mother is saying, you are grown enough, you have to leave the nest. You have to go out of the nest. And these nests, as I was mentioning, an eagle will build these nests with different materials and thorns and rags and all those things. And it's a strong nest. And once it's done, and then the eaglets are born, and they are comfortable in the nest, and the mother says, okay, you have been comfortable here, but it is time now for you to leave. And it will begin to take these materials out, take these materials out, take these materials out. And then what the eagle will do is to begin to push the eaglets out of the nest. Say, come on, now you are grown, you have to fly. And when he pushes them, then they are pricked by the thorns that the eagle father and the mother put in the nest. And they begin to be uncomfortable. They say, you know what? It's time to leave. There are thorns here. Mommy is pushing us against these thorns. And the other thing that we need to learn from the eagle is that when he begins to push the eaglets out of the nest, it begins to let them begin to learn to fly. And flying of the eagle is not an easy thing. the ego mother and the ego father will take the young ones and they say, you know what? I need to begin to train you. So that's the ego mentality, and it's very protective. And if you can see in that picture there, an ego is a very protective bird and fierce bird. If anything comes near the nest of an ego, that's the end of that animal. A snake would come near the eagle's nest. What the ego does, he will chop that snake into pieces or capture it by the head and take it up in the sky. And the snake will begin to fail to breathe. And the ego will chop that snake and it will die. So why the ego is so protective of the young ones? All of us, we must protect our young ones. We must train our young ones. If any predator comes towards the nest of an ego, you are endangering your life. An ego will fight you. If an animal is coming towards the nest of an ego, the ego will soar high and come to fight for the young ones. The ego trains the young ones. Mentorship. Who are you mentoring? As we go through 2026, is a year to soar high up in the sky like an eagle. At the same time, we need to begin to train others. We need to mentor young ones. Eagles are good mentors. When the young ones are growing, the eagle will take them on their wings and soar high up. And then the eagle will take them on lessons. An eagle is a good trainer. An eagle is a good mentor. He will take the young ones on the wings. And the eagle will train the young ones, will throw them off the cliff, teaching them how to fly. It's not that the ego is not good at parenting. No, it trains the young ones by carrying them on the wings. And the Bible tells us in Exodus to say, God says, I carried you like on an eagle's wings, and I took you to myself. So you discover that the Bible tells us more about an eagle, how he trains the young ones. And God tells us to say, I carried you just like on an eagle's wing and carried you to myself. So an eagle flies very high, carries the young ones and trains them. And I want to encourage somebody to say, we must begin to train others just like an eagle trains the young ones. And God tells us in the scriptures to say, you know what? In Isaiah 40:31, the Bible tells us, but those who trust in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar and fly high on wings like an eagle. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. The Bible is encouraging us. Psalms 103:5. The Bible tells us about an eagle. It's God who satisfies you with good things so that your youth may be renewed like an eagle. God loves us and he wants each one of us to soar high. In Exodus 19:4, a lovely, lovely scripture, the Bible says, you have seen for yourselves what I did to Egyptians when the children of Israel were in captivity in Egypt. And God says, I'm taking you back to your promised land. He says in Exodus 19:4, to say, you have seen for yourselves what I did to Egypt and how I carried you like on the eagle's wings and brought you to myself. God is a great God, he's a good God, and he carries us. He is going to carry you in 2026. Don't be afraid. God is a faithful God. He's going to carry you like on an eagle's wings. And the Bible also continues to tell us in Deuteronomy 32:11-13, as an eagle stirs up its nest, spreading out its wings, taking the young ones up, carrying them on its wings. This year, God is going to carry you on, and you don't have to be afraid of the storms. And the other thing that we learn about an eagle is a fearless bird, like I mentioned. In Deuteronomy 32, the scripture tells us that in Deuteronomy 32, verse 10-13, he found them wandering through the desert, a desolate place, wind-swept wilderness. He protected them and cared for them as he would protect himself, like an eagle teaching its young ones to fly, catching them on his wings and protecting them from falling. This year, have a mentality of an eagle, so high up in the sky, so high up in your business, in your learning, in your endeavors. And believe you me, God says He's faithful to carry you through this year and protect you. Finally, the last thought I would want to share with you on eagle mentality is that an eagle does not fear storms. You know, in life, there are times that you want to do something, and because you failed one time, you think you're going to fail again. So you say, you know what, I'm not going to attempt anything. I'm not going to do it again. But believe you me, God is a faithful God. He wants you to trust Him. He wants you to trust and attempt big things. I know there are people that think, oh, okay, whenever God wants me to do something, I'll do it. No. There are things God has done, and there are things that He says, you do it yourself. I'll be with you. I'll never leave you, nor forsake you. So, the eagle, when he sees the storm coming, he waits for the storm to form and to get stronger. The eagle does not fear storms. The eagle, if anything, he flies straight into the storm. What am I saying? Get the courage. This is a year to have a mentality of courage. Do not be scared. Don't fear. We need to have that courage and fearless to say, I can face any challenge. You know, life has got storms and challenges and problems. Somebody said, if you are not facing a storm, it's not that there are no storms in life, there are no problems in life, there are no challenges in life. No, there are challenges. The question is not, are there storms? The question is, when will the storm come? And am I prepared for the storm? An eagle prepares for the storm. So what am I saying? 2026 eagle mentality is to say, storms will come in life, but am I prepared? If you prepare for it, you face head on and you're going to achieve great results. People that make it in life are not those that run away from problems, are those that say, yes, this is a problem. Yes, I've got this challenge. Yes, I'm in debt. What can I do? I have to pay off these debts. I have to clear these debts. Yes, I need to look for a job. I'm not in employment at the moment. What do? Don't fold your arms and sit down and say, whenever God blesses me, then I'll get a job. No. Write an application, submit it, send it out, go out, look for a job. Storms are there. The ego knows that storms come. And as the storms are forming, the ego is preparing herself to say, come on, storm, come on, and we're going to meet. And when the storm forms and is coming fiercely, what an ego will do is to dive straight into the storm and stretch out the wings. And when the ego stretches out the wings, you know what? The ego has the largest wings. The wings of an eagle is about 2.5 meters. So an eagle is a very unique bird. An eagle's wings are about 2.5 meters. The wings of an eagle. And when the storm comes, an eagle will dive into the storm and just stretch the wings out and let the wind carry the eagle up. May you